Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Skills4All webinar. We will continue as through our whole season, and today it's our second last webinar of the season, and we will talk about the national teams programming. And today, as well as the other webinars, it will last about 50 to 75 minutes. And first, we'll have a little bit of introduction and housekeeping. And after that, we'll move to our main topic. Today, we have two great presenters that we have a privilege to listen and to talk together with and ask questions later on. And then after that, we'll move to our IIHF initiative that we will talk about again, the coaching symposium. And then on the end, we will have the questions and answers, as well as the discussion part, which will happen only on Zoom. So same as every other time, we are live streaming on YouTube, as well as you are able to join us via Zoom. And if you join us through Zoom, then you can be part of the discussion later on, where you can ask our presenters questions, and you can listen to the discussion that other people are having as well. So there is still people joining in through Zoom and joining us on YouTube. But if you wanna find the Zoom link as well, if you are now at the moment on YouTube, you can go to our IIHF webpage for the webinars, and you will find the link there. So, first presenter of today, I had a privilege to talk with Marta. Marta is Vice President of Polish Federation, as well as the League Commissioner and Head of Women's Hockey, as well as she is IIHF Council member. And with Marta, we took a little bit different approach than just national team programming. We took more of an approach of holistic development and holistic approach of how to get to the national team, and then in the national team, how the players develop through the youth national teams all the way to the women's national team. So with Marta, we focused on the women's hockey and the women's national teams, as well as how they're planning and programming different projects for them, or if, for example, some of them are not good enough to be part of the national teams, how they become involved, or how they stay involved in hockey for life. So it's a really interesting approach that we had, or really, for me, it was really interesting talk, and happy that we are able to share that part of a big country, but maybe not that big country for the women's hockey, and it was really interesting to listen. So let me share the video, and the sound should work. So let's see how it goes.
Thank you very much, Marco, for introduction, and thank you very much for inviting me over here. I'm really excited because we know each other most likely, but definitely there are some things that I can share, and you can discover what I regularly do as well back in the Polish Ice Hockey Federation. I have prepared some small presentation. It will be more with some basic points or some photos, and the more I am a talkative person, so I more talk than write, so maybe it's more entertaining for you to look at the photos than and then listen to me. On the photos you can see a little bit of the beginning of the journey, a little bit back in the history. It's me on the ice still as a referee saying no goal to our team national captain. She's also a captain in the Polonia Bytom team, which is at the moment 13 times the national champion in the women's league. Also me with the first senior Polish national women's team after the tournament in Bulgaria, Division 5. We have won the gold medal and we got promoted, but that was in 2011. It was a historical and milestone thing for the Polish women's ice hockey. We have started, to be honest, a little bit earlier. In the beginning of the 2000 years, Polish ice hockey was more concentrated on the men's side. 2002 was our last time when the men's senior team was in Gothenburg in top division. They needed to wait 22 years later to be back, but still everybody was focusing on the men's side. Nobody was thinking about the female side, but in Gdańsk, to be honest, which is a very strange thing for Polish hockey, because basically more Polish hockey are down south of the country, but in Gdańsk they established a first women's team. Later on it started down south, so in Tychy they also made a team. It was more from the daughters of the hockey related fathers or brothers or something like that, but they encouraged the ladies to maybe try out a little bit on the ice. So the first game that was shown in the public space, let's say, between two female teams was Stoczniowiec Gdańsk and IIHF Tychy, that they played in actually multifunctional arena in Spodek before the Poland versus Stars of NHL game. So that's a little bit interesting that nobody know that the girls are playing, but basically suddenly they were having an exposure in front of 5,000 people indoor. So it was quite a hit to a start. To be honest, I was a referee on that game. I can't remember the score, but it was so exciting to be, on the ice just before the stars like Dominik Hasek, Sergei Fyodorov, and all the Polish stars like Mariusz Czerkawski. Then I think that most of the girls as well, they were just too excited that they can be in front of a big stadium. In 2005, we started a little bit the league. There were some more teams coming over. So basically, it started, but it was more related to the club teams. So and it was more done as a tournament level. So we started December 2005, something called league, and then among the different cities, we started to have some tournaments. We used to have 4 to 6 teams because it was changing. Of course, the landscape was like, this time we had the money, this time we don't have the money. I think it's always, and it's still unfortunately related to the financial resources, how we can build the programs regarding the female hockey, because I'm coming from this, let's say, developing still country in the middle section. So it's still the financial aspect determines how everything is looking like. At the moment, the league is like that. Those the top photos are from the last year final. So you can see that in Bytom we had the full stadium with a big crowd, with both spectators coming over. So basically it was around 1,200 indoor people who were cheering for the ladies. So I think that was an amazing part. As I mentioned, Bytom is a little bit our capital of the women's hockey. They already won 13 times the national championship. Tomorrow we have game number 2. Oh no, you're gonna have the recording straight after the final. So Marco will update you who won, because this weekend is actually the 2 final games. But at the moment, we already know that they are sold out. So again, it's gonna be the full crowd over there. The cup is already in the city, so they are making some promotional campaigns. So, comparing how it started when nobody knew about women's hockey to the point that we got now, I think it's a milestone. And to be honest, it's a very fast changing environment. In Bytom, it's more team related to the national team. So we've got more national team players from the senior side. When the opponent, Janów, which is the district in Katowice, my hometown, is more contained by the junior players. So you can see that both teams are really helping our national team program. but as well it's a combination of both senior and junior players. The league at the moment contains 9 teams. Bytom, Janów, Tychy, Gdańsk, Oświęcim, Poznań, Kraków, Nowy Targ, Jastrzębie. Poznań and Gdańsk are more teams who are a little bit up north. So we have a little bit of the structure that needs a little bit of the driving. Unfortunately, top 4 teams, top 5 teams have bigger impact, and they are outscoring the lower ones, with 2 teams, Bytom and Janów, being more competitive than the others. So even if Bytom is playing the best roster, they can outscore the lower ones 23-0 or even 27-0. I don't think that it makes more sense. So we are at the moment a little bit in a phase when we are thinking to divide the teams into 2 sections, maybe have 5 better teams, 4 or 5, it depends if anybody else is going to be on the landscape, as we can see that it might happen. And then maybe having a little bit of the pre-playoffs with seeded number 1 and 2 to have like a bye, and then the rest will be competing for the rest of the semi-final spot. Because, like I said, at the moment, the difference between the top teams and the lower teams in the league is too big, and it's not beneficial for both ways. Bytom is having 13-time champion title, but he was sometimes challenged by the others. We had Oświęcim winning the cup, we had Gdańsk winning the cup. But I think at the moment they are still the strongest one, and maybe some of the teams are already having in mind that they are so strong that it's very hard to compete them mentally. So that's the challenge. Like I said, we've got 2 teams that need to have the distances. And I will say a little bit later about our project with European Women's Hockey League, because it affects as well the league scheduling. It affects a little bit also the rosters. And also for the future, at the moment, we had only 2 rounds due to the fact that we were using the rest of the weekends for other activities. But I think that we need to have more and more games for the girls. So I think it will be also related to how we're gonna change the setup of the league. The senior national team, that's our latest photo from Bytom, of course, where we played the pre-Olympic qualification. We won this tournament. We went to the Olympic qualification final, even though that unfortunately last season we were relegated from Group 1B to 2A. So that's a little bit joker card that says that even if you are playing in 2A, you can still be in the final Olympic qualification. So everything is possible. The team is a little bit mixed. We have still on this roster 2 players who remember 2011 and winning the first gold medal. So 1 goalie is born 88, 1 forward is born 89. She actually, the forward, Ewelina Czarnecka, she played in every single national team game since the beginning. So even the practice games, everything. At the moment, I think on the counter, she's got like 130 games in the national team. And she's still gonna play this season, if nothing happens, of course. And she's still thinking about next season. So basically, that's also shows that the commitment to the program. The program is a little bit, also related to their skills. So unfortunately, still the old generation is a little bit stronger in our roster. So we are still It's not the case that they all also want to be in the program and to be in the national team, but also at the moment they are giving the quality to the roster. So I think but we know that that's the challenge that we're gonna face. That at one moment they will choose the family, they will choose the occupation, and they will not be having so much availability for our program. At the moment, we are having around 35 players that were chosen during the whole season, and they were evaluated. But mostly we are concentrating on 2025, and that's the case. Of course, that's the ladies program. So at the moment, we are having a little bit health issues as well and some personal issues. So for the roster, if you compare the previous year and even Japan, albeit on Olympic qualification, we lost 4 players, which were like the game changers. So basically, we know that we will be needing the fresh blood in our system. We got around 8 players who are playing in Sweden, Switzerland, Slovakia, 1 in NCAA. But 5 are regularly coming to our national team camp and play. During the national team breaks, we are trying to utilize all of them. The more you play, the better player you are, and that's the thing that we are concentrating on. In 2014, we saw that there is an importance of establishing the U18 program. Therefore, we started it. And we started competing with the young generation. At the moment, we have 45 players around on the list. Unfortunately, because they are growing from different environments, we can see that there is a big difference with skill and hockey IQ, hockey knowledge among the 45 and the best and the lowest ones. So the selection is really divided into the parts. In further, we saw the importance of having even U16 team because they need to gain the experience as soon as possible. You can't have a player coming for the U18 first international game and she's not ready for it. So the sooner you start to gain the experience on the international level, it's better as well and beneficial for the players. So the season after we finished the U18 World Championships, we already tried to select the new generation, the new roster from the U16 program. So around April, we are trying to utilize some of the international tournament to play the games. And then during the summer, we are trying as well to establish some off-ice camps to take the opportunity to build their self-confidence and as well some kind of an off-ice habits. Because unfortunately, due to the work in the clubs, it's not always common to not only focus on ice, but also for your physicality and your fitness. With the junior program, we are utilizing as well all the breaks. We are trying to establish cooperations with the other national team. It's great that we've got the cooperation with the so-called Olympic Hopes tournament from Visegrad Group. So we are playing in December against Slovakia, Czechia, and Hungary. We are on a little different level. So Slovakia and Czechia are giving, let's say, U17, U16 team. And we are competing with each other, but for us as well, setting up such games, it's also beneficial, and especially in December, just before we start the pre-camp for the Worlds, to build, to gain the experience. We are trying to gain the also cooperation with the senior team, so trying to at least 2 players have put into the senior program in a tournament, but because we are playing in the European Women's Hockey League as well, we are having already the young guns, let's say like that, playing regularly with those more experienced ones on ice before. The IIHL project. This is something that we learned as well from our Slovak friends. They were the first one who had the SKP Bratislava project playing in the European Women's Hockey League, which is the league that has got teams from Austria, Hungary, Slovakia, Italy, Kazakhstan, and now us. It helps a lot to play more competitive games, and it helps us to grow the program. So the junior and the senior players are playing together. At the moment, we finished the 4th season playing. We are playing as a national team, so we are having the financial background related to the budget of the senior national team. It helps us to have a stability for the coaches, for the players, for the equipment, for the practices. So I think this is very beneficial, and we are really grateful that the ministry has put help on us. We are regularly practicing because the schedule with the Polish League and the IIHL is always trying to overlap. So there, when the girls are not playing the regular Polish season, they are already having some practices during the week with us as a IIHL program. Like I said, it's the best practices to play against and compete against the stronger teams. We can check players how they perform regarding the games and how they feel in the environment of the really playing for something. Unfortunately, comparing to other teams which are already getting more and more professional, we are still we are playing as a national team. We are not having any salaries for the girls, so that creates a little bit of challenges of commitment. Challenges if they can spend so much time with us, if they can, sacrifice their own off weekends or some time off. Due to the fact that they are playing in the league, and also as most of them, they are all already working or students, or of course they are girls. Sometimes we are practicing only in the evening, so this is a typical, I think, a worldwide problem that we are not the first one to choose the best time slot. But for us, it's the 8 o'clock till 9:30 slot, and we need to be ready next morning to go to work, to go to school. In the weekend, if we are traveling around Europe, we are always asking to have the morning Sunday game, even though it's not the best time to recover after the Saturday. But we need to be back still on Sunday home, because the next day there are normal life responsibilities waiting for us. Sometimes it's hard because those games are better and more competitive, so the girls don't want to go back to their clubs, or the other way, it's too competitive for them, so even though that we are choosing somebody, they want to stay in the club because they are too afraid that it's going to be too much for them. Those are the pros and cons, of course, of the commitment, if you want to really stay in hockey, or you just want to play it for fun. But for me, that's the best challenge for the girls if you are transiting from junior level to senior level. You can still play with your older and more experienced colleagues, compete with the better opponents, and learn more for sure. I'm still laughing that sometimes we are having the center who is older altogether than both wings, but I think it's more beneficial for both wings to have a player like that to direct them what they should do and how they can learn hockey and understand hockey. I mentioned already that we discovered that without the lower sections, U17, U16, U15, and even lower, you can't build a proper program. So we are trying to build as well for the newcomers and also for the younger girls opportunities. We are having tournaments, we are having also participation in the Global Girls Game by the IIHF or the Global Hockey Weekend with the IIHF. We are having the 5-team junior league for the players who are coming from the, let's say, clubs developing and recruiting players, because not all of them, they can go straight away to the senior level, even though that our league allows younger players like born 2011 even in the league and compete with the adults, but still you need to have some kind of a hockey level to play and compete with the better teams. Those 5 teams are more located within the southern part of Poland, so for them it's very convenient. But for those who are having also around the Poland, we are trying to have some tournaments as the 3-on-3 is now growing. So we also found out that there are so many girls that can come, and we are trying to set up at least 4 tournaments with the 3-on-3 program. And then for us, it's also better to monitor and to see that, also in the locations, not necessarily hockey related, are also the girls, and we can still have them in our program. We've got still players playing with the boys, but we know that at some point it's even better for the girls to compete only with the girls and learn the women's game, because at the moment women's game is changing and it's like more or less different sport. Like I said, girls can play with the boys till the age of 18 at the moment in Poland. So with the U16 team boys till 18, they can still play in their league. You can say that there are pros and cons of that. Of course, in the past, it was more to help us to have the best players competing with a little bit stronger environment, and then they are ready to compete as well in the senior level. But that was the case when also we didn't have so many girls, so we were fighting for everybody. At the moment, of course, we are still fighting for everybody, but we've got more and more girls coming over, and they are becoming really, really good players. In the past, we needed to fight a spot for them in the boys' team. At the moment, some of the girls are saving the boys' teams because it's not enough boys, or they are even stronger and they are more competitive. So they are really helping the boys' team. More games, of course, it's always that's the challenge. Yeah, Marco.
Do you have the rule? Maybe this is not related with the national team, but it's interesting. Do you have the rule that the girls can be older in certain levels, or are they the same age?
We used to start like that they were older. At the moment, we are trying to equalize that. The girls are growing faster, so they are, better. So I think we are at the moment equalizing the level of the ages. The only thing is that, a little bit further, we are extending, let's say, their career.
So when they get older, then you let them to be kind of older than the boys, but in the younger age categories, you try to make it. Because we had some discussions with different federations about that, so that's why I'm curious as well.
Yeah. And like I said, we started at the beginning that they could be 2 years even older, but that was not the case. It was not beneficial for both ways, so we decided that it's better like that. To be very honest, on one hand, now I can see that the best girls are playing with the boys. So at the moment, okay, they are gaining the experience, but then suddenly we need to monitor how many games they are playing during the whole week. The girls are growing, the bones are growing, and then they are having more and more injuries related to the fact that they are growing, and the knees can't handle it, back can't handle it, you know. It's too much for them as well, especially for the best ones. When they are playing with the boys, they are playing the women's league, they are playing already in my program in the IIHF. So then it's a challenge, and you know, also for the coaches, you have 3 coaches in 1 week, you know. It's sometimes not the best for the developing player. So like I said, it's pros and cons. On the other hand, for me, sometimes it's even sad that they are not continuing their career after 18, because or we are losing those girls, or when they finish as well with the junior program and they are not going to get to the senior, they are quitting, or they are going to the university, to a different city, and they are not playing no more hockey. And also sometimes, you know, it's the matter of habits. We are trying to have the same level of practices and sessions for them, like the boys. But, you know, competing with the ice time and all the possibilities that are normal, casual problems in a daily life, sometimes it can happen that, you know, the girls are quitting, or they are not keeping the level, let's say like that. We had few of those best players who needed to finish when they were 18 with the boys, and they couldn't move abroad, they couldn't go and play in a stronger league. We didn't have the IIHL program back then, so they were losing their skills. So like I said, it's pros and cons, and we can challenge each other what's best, but I think it's still beneficial for our girls to compete with the boys. I think the international tournaments, exchange of knowledge during those things are helping us a lot. We share the best practices. We can create a secured calendar, so we know upfront how to create the budget, when we are playing, where we're gonna play, how we should prepare ourselves for such things. And of course, the most important thing is to secure the financial resources. I think that's the challenge for everybody. We are happy to have the ministry on our back, and they are helping a lot, but I am aware how hard it is to find sponsors, especially in a country. I don't want to underestimate my country, don't get me wrong, but I think we are still having in mindset that ice hockey is more towards boys, towards men, and we are always at the bottom of the list to help. It's always the men's sport, and it's always 2 or 3 times harder to build something related to the women's than to the guys. I wouldn't be myself if I would not say about that. As a former referee and also responsible for the officiating part, we are trying as well to help the girls to stay in the game and to build the officiating program. On the photos, you can see those who managed to get to the IIHF level. So I think that's again the importance of the international exposure is everywhere, and I think that's the key part for growing the ice hockey. I know that everywhere is the challenge, is the promotion, is the marketing, is the finances, but you know, at the end, when you are seeing the faces of the girls and their appreciation and also the medals that they can achieve, I think in the end it's worth it. And you know, I wouldn't change those, I don't know, 16 years almost now, or even more, working with the program for anything else, because that's the benefit of being a leader as well, to see the smiley faces and, you know, the appreciation. That's more or less how we are doing it in Poland. Of course, if there are some questions from you, Marco, at the moment, then please. And for the webinar itself, unfortunately, I'm not going to be there as I have the council meeting, but I think Magda Jabłońska will be with you at the moment. She's our head coach of the U18, U16 national team. At the moment, she is our typical example and role model for those players who wants to stay in the program and to find a spot for themselves because they like hockey.
Thank you, Marta, for presenting. Or she is not at the moment with us. She has, as she said, she has a council meeting at the moment. But Magda is here with us, and after we listen to our next presenter, you will have the time to ask her questions and to ask Igor questions as well. So if you have any questions or anything so far that you want to discuss, you can put it in the chat, as well as you can ask it later on yourself. So to our next presenter, I'm really happy that Igor joined us live here as well. So Igor is a team manager for the national team as well as the video coach for the national teams, and he is a coaching development manager. And with him, we took a little bit different approach. We took an approach of, okay, how is actually national team structure? So from the youth national team all the way to the adult national team, from the men's side in this part, how do they actually structure that and how it goes? So I will stop sharing my screen and welcome you, Igor, to the seminar.
Hello, everyone. Give me a second here. I'm just going to share my screen.
Perfect.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you, Marco. So first of all, thank you very much, Marco, for giving me a chance to present at this webinar. I wanted to say hello to everyone. Good morning, probably people from North America, South America, people in Europe, probably a daytime, afternoon in Asia. It was really great to hear Marta talking about the women's part of national team programming, and it was really inspirational for me as well. So thank you for that. Secondly, I want to thank again the IIHF for this opportunity. And as Mark already mentioned, I'm going to be talking more about the men's side of the national teams, where I have more experience with. So looking back at the presentation from last year, even Switzerland, and talking to national team directors from different countries, Finland, Sweden, it's. I mean, most of the countries are getting the same approach. It's about really details and player development at the end. And I will share the details of how we do it in Slovakia, in the conditions that we are facing and what we have currently in our country. And Marco already introduced myself, so I just want to add that our thank you, my colleagues actually, Roman Sikora, who is the general manager for the youth programs and who is running the program at the moment, and of course my boss Miroslav Shatan, who oversees the whole program, mostly the men's side, but the youth program as well. And then he's of course the president of the federation, and they are working on daily basis at the national team programs. It's just that I have a lot of experience from last decade from different fields and programming that I am here today to present overall planning what we do in our program. So really quickly, we're going to touch couple areas. As you can see, the first one, again, I got to start with where we're coming from. So tell a few facts and figures about Slovakia. So you have a better view. I'm going to show you the structure of the national teams, the player pathway, and how do we deal with players and how do we try to identify the talents in our system, of course. And then the whole process, how it's working. And of course, the part of the process is not just the programming and working with the players, but of course to work with the coaches, and you have to have a good coaches in place, and you have to really have the philosophy and the goal of the whole process. So let me start with a couple of quick informations. As Marco said, there is a lot of countries, small countries, big countries, top countries maybe watching. So we consider ourselves a really small hockey country. The population, as you can see, around 5 millions. We have total around 90 rinks, and the player base, it's quite small comparing to the big top hockey nations that we are competing against or fighting against. If you compare to Finland or Sweden or some other countries, we really have really small numbers. But again, we are trying to be really effective and want to work with the players on a daily basis. So, of course, the players without the coaches, again, it cannot work together well. So we are really trying to work with the coaches. That's the biggest part of my job, to work with the coaches, not only the national team coaches, but to develop the coaches on the club level. And a couple last achievements from the men's side only. As you can see, the men's worldwide ranking, couple achievements we managed, and the U18 and U20 men's, actually that's from the last World Championship in the top division. So most of and all the other men's side teams are in the top division, U18, U20, and the men's. Uh, going deeper, we run all the programs, as I already mentioned, at the men's side and the women's side, as you can see. And on the top of it, we started working on the sledge hockey as well. Not only on the men's side or the women's side. I can just say that actually we're going to be running in August the first World Championship in a women's sledge hockey. We're going to be hosting here in Slovakia, the top nation. So that is also a next step. So as you can see, we're trying to work on all the levels, and with the players we have and with the manpower that we have in place. So let's start with the players pathway and development. In my eyes, the men's national team program has to go hand in hand with the development, because the development is really supplementing the players, and it's really about how you develop your players, your coaches, and then you can go to the next level. So in our eyes, it all starts with the U15 regional, and we're gonna get deeper in the process, or how we are running our U15. This is just the progression, how we work it, and so it all makes sense to not only the players, to coaches, but the clubs and everyone who is involved, as well as parents. So it all starts with U15 through U16. Of course, going to the highest level, and of course the top of the iceberg, the men's team. The highlighted at the development part is the club work, because we really rely on our domestic clubs and their work, the players' work. Of course, we have our players playing in abroad in different leagues over the Europe, even in North America. But the majority of the players that go and play for the national team come from our system. We would like to have more players and to stay in our system. We are really facing the problem that around 150 players from the age of U15 till the age of U20 are playing abroad, and those are really the average and top players. And in a long term, it's a little bit hurting our system, because if we would have those players in our system, in our leagues, working with our players, it would probably raise the quality of the players we're pure producing. So we're trying to work with that, and hopefully in the future it will also help to become our club system a little bit stronger. What I have to say also that in this pathway is that majority of the national team players, if we talk the U16 players, they play in the U17 league, in a midget league. Most of the players from the U17 league play for the U20 junior league, and majority of the players, national team players, let's call it national team players, prospects, the U20, they have to play, and they should play mostly in the senior first league, top league, or abroad. So this is how it's working at the moment. And of course, as I said, we're working on that thing that we would like to keep those average players, let's say, in our system. And again, if you have really good top players, that will naturally go and play in a better league, in the better countries, hockey countries. But those average players should hopefully in the future stay in our system to help become a better hockey nation. This next slide, we a little bit go deeper in the players' pools. So basically, this is how the pyramid is built. So, for example, I started with the as example of this season 24-25 and the region. So players born 2010. So that's the year of that's the single birth year. In that category, of course, we have sometimes younger players playing for different categories. But if we go deeper into the numbers, uh, and we talk about the players that are available, or and really they have a skill level in order to participate on the international level. So out of from 850 players, we choose or we select, and we will show the process how we do it in the next slide. Around 120 players. For U16 this year, we were looking at and monitoring around 70 players. For the U17, we talk about 75, 60 for the U18, and the top of the iceberg again, the World Junior team that participated at the World Juniors in Ottawa this year. So we are looking at the 40 players that are or have a chance to be part of the national team in order to how we produce the quality. I already mentioned the talent identification, that this is a really crucial part in our system, because we are working with a small number, so we have to be really careful what players we're choosing, how we're choosing the process. And as you can see on the picture on the left, these are two players from regional U15 camp a couple of years ago. Born 4 months apart, and as you can see, there's a big difference, mostly the physical difference. One is already really physically mature, as you can see. The other one is really still as a small, maybe a kid. And again, these two players were facing each other in a selection process in a camp against each other. And of course, this is the challenging part. That's who you're gonna choose for your national team in a long term. Of course, if you talk about the state of current skill level and the physicality, you could have a different view than what you're looking at in 5 or 10 years long-term preparation. So what we are looking at, as I said, it's a difference in biological and chronological age, because some players develop later than the others, and what makes really the early identification difficult. And going into the contest and competition, the performance players is or can be influenced by the team's strength. So when we are choosing the players, you really have to also look at the playing environment. So the environment we are choosing the players from, the subjectivity and in the evaluation. By that we means that of course every scout or every coach, even a national team coach, really have a different experience, different glasses, I can put it this way, on the different players. So we have to be really careful, and we want to really use as many good quality people for this selection process. And of course, the mental and physical growth, the injury history of the players, it's big part of the selection process as well. When it goes into the talent identification, we use a couple different methods, of course. The number one I already mentioned, it's observation and scouting of the players in the games, in the practices, in the tournaments. in the domestic leagues, and also we're trying to touch the international level. That's why we have the international calendar in place. Of course, some statistic performance stats, numbers, if the players are playing abroad, testing and the psychological assessments. So we really use the sports psychologists as well at lots of different camps during our national team breaks. U15 regional, so that's where it all starts. The first monitoring process starts in regions. So we are going from 240 players and 32 goalies that are invited to our camps, or triple A tournaments in November, December, and February. It's evaluated during the season, because the player performance again changes from November till the end of the season. We're trying to play the only games best of best. So that means the top players against each other. So you can see really the players in that one single berth here against each other. After that, those tournaments or the games, we go into the selection of the players camps, where we invite just a half of the players chosen based off the criteria I already mentioned on the previous slide, and really go into the training camps and sessions where we want to see the players also in practice, not just in the games. We do use the different personnel. It's from the beginning, it's regional instructors who are really responsible. We have strength conditioning coach in place, as well as I already mentioned, the psychologists, the club coaches. We're trying to get the coaches of the players that are involved to be part of it. And again, the focus, it's on ice, off ice. So we're really trying to touch every part or every element of the game. From the U15, we're jumping into the U16-U20. So I put all the categories together, because the main areas of focus, as you're gonna see, are quite similar, and it's four really important areas that we really focus on. And the first one is that the player selection, and it's again really consider how the player will look like, or how he's gonna look like in 5-10 years, where he's going to be the national team prospect. So if we can identify that talent, again, we evaluating through the club, and I really want to give the chance to every player that has a chance for the national team. Once we identify those players, we try to work with them, and again, there are different tools, and I'm going to show it to you in next couple of slides. And we are trying to focus again on individual development. So we're gonna on the technical skills, of course, as a tactical strength and conditioning, and psychological growth. So again, also to create the players that are really important for the national team. The big part of the national team programming is that international experience, as Marta mentioned in her presentation, for these players to really compare each other against the top players from the top teams, as Czech Republic, Sweden, Finland, Canada, US, of course. It's really important to see and kind of benchmark where they are, because if they are the best players in their own team in our league, they sometimes think they are the best. But again, once they get on the international stage, play against the best players from the world, it's really eye opener, as I can say. So we want to get them exposed and play different countries, different hockey styles, and of course to instill the national team culture that it should be built from the U15 regional camp until they reach the top of the iceberg, the men's or the senior hockey. The last but not least area of the focus for us in the programming of the U16, U17, U18, and U20 programs is so the players really have the clear pathway what's is expected on each national level, and really so they can see the top product, what's the men's senior team. So we're really trying to align that philosophy that actually goes from the men's down. So I'm going to give you some examples how we work with that on the next couple of slides. And of course, to build the relationship with the clubs, because without work with the clubs, I mean, there would be not national team at all, because that's development is also crucial for us. So here are a couple tools that we use for the development of the players. The first one are the camps. I think more or less every country has his own way how to run the camps, national team camps. And again, you can run them in the season, as you can see on the left, or off the season, as you can see on the right. So in the season, we mostly have 2 days, 3 days camps before every international break. So when we travel and play the tournament in Finland, Sweden, or somewhere in November, December, or in February, we always get together for a couple days. And what we focus on here, it's again because we have only couple practices, couple meetings with the players. So we work on the team chemistry, try to develop the line combination and pairing of the lines. Probably we're trying to focus on one team, one identity mindset, and I explain a little bit later. We're trying to really use those couple practices with high intensity practices, where really we try to simulate the actions from what's it's going to happen in that international stage, next couple of games. And of course, we're trying to identify our captains, leaders, and set the winning mindset for the team. During the off season, again, we got more time to work on the skills and some other details. Of course, there is some education for the players regarding the strength and conditioning, nutrition, and performance from the other side of what's happening on the ice. I didn't mention that we have the project of the national team development program in place for the men's, and it used to be U20. Back days, it all started 2007-8 season. After a couple of years, we changed it to the U18 project that actually runs from the season 2013-14. And again, the project, the main target of the project is really to give the opportunity to players to prepare for what's happening at the international level, and the players are playing really good quality games against the men's. So they are only U17, they play against the men's and the top junior teams in Slovakia, as well as international tournaments. We really in the practices focus on the skill development, forwards, defensemen. Off ice training is really important, of course, as the team strategy and proper nutrition and everything is there provided for the players. So the players really just need to study and focus on the hockey, and everything else is taken care of. So this program is working really well for us for last couple of years. And again, there is lots of graduates that were drafted from the last couple of years. Shimon Nemec playing in New Jersey at the moment, Roman Sikora in AHL. And then from the previous years, we had players like Marko Daňo, Hrivik or Marincin, also players drafted by the NHL and then playing all over the Europe at the moment, that took part of the national team development program in the past. Of course, there will be no hockey without the goalies. So we have a goalie development program in place. It's led by our former national team goalies Jan Olašák, Rastio Stania, and these programs actually is based on the regional camps, working with all the national team prospects, goalies, with a couple of days together, working on ice and off ice focus, going deep into the skills, strength and conditioning, really designed for the goalies, nutrition. And as a part of this program, we also are trying to work with our coaches, goalie coaches. So they are the club goalie coaches are part of this camp. So they really gain the basic experience, that they can really take back to their clubs and work with the goalies on daily basis. They also invite lots of different guests from this goalie coaches field from abroad to be part of it through the webinars as well. And they also try to work with the parents of the goalies, trying to explain them what's the best way to develop the goalies and how they should really work with their kids as well. The part of the iceberg, the men's national team, I didn't really wanted to go really deep into this one. The men's program, again, it's really important for us as well. But what's even more important is the transition from the junior hockey to the men's, and we're really trying to work on this. So we have more players that gonna make it to the national team level, and they're gonna make the influence. They're gonna be part of the teams in the extra league teams. So I can just mention that if we going to the last World Championship in Czech Republic, our average age for the men's were 26 years, so the players were around 26. So if you look at the players coming from the U16 until 26, we're talking about 10 years of long-term development on lots of different areas. And again, the transition from the U20 to the men's, it's the most crucial one. So what we have in place right now, it's that in Slovak Extra League, that's the top men's league. Every team has to have two mandatory spots for two players that are U20, and they have to have them on the rosters. They have to give them a ice time, and again, we limit the number of the import players to 7. And again, they have to work with the young guys. And for the Slovak First League, then they have to have 7 young players, and 5 of them are U23 players and 2 of them U20. So we're really trying to kind of force the teams, the men's teams, to really work also with the youth players as well. And at the international level, we got a lot of games that we play, as you can see, exhibition games, etc. Okay. The next slide. As I already mentioned, the coaching is a really big part, and on the pictures you can see it's the biggest influence since last couple of years. That's our head coach, Craig Ramsey, who started with us in 2017, and based on his philosophy, we really did a lot of changes, not only in the team play and team philosophy, but also adjusted lots of things in the whole system. And again, we're trying to really instill that in all the national team programs, the way we play, so we really can talk about the Slovak way of playing. A part of that, we do have a full-time U18 and U20 head coaches. U16 and U17 are club coaches that are part-time coaches, and we really work with them. So every year we have different coaches, so they can really take the idea back to the clubs. Of course, the biggest thing is to improve the player performance. So we do use lots of video analytics, and we try to really work with the team performance, and specialized training for the goalies. I already mentioned that. Couple last slides before I finish. As I told you, the top of the iceberg, the national team. This is how we want to see it. This is also the part of the strategy that we set back in 2016-17, where a couple of the people gathered from the national teams from around the country, and this is what we wanted to see in the national teams, and this is what we are trying to instill in our programs from the men's till the U15. So we really want to see the good team culture, players as a professionals, build the winning mentality, and the national pride, what's really big for our fans, because hockey is the #1 sport in our country. If we talk about the sport performance, we really want to focus on the offensive mindset. We want to play with the puck. We want to be dictating the play, and we want to really be in the game. We don't want to just wait what's going to happen. We want to be part of the game, and the cooperation regarding the team first mentality. Regarding the national team player, you want to build the top players the way that you can see, and I choose our former captain of the national team, also the captain of Boston Bruins for lots of years, Zdeno Chara, because he really represents the character and the mentality that what we are looking in a player, and that's really hard work and persistence regarding to really work hard as a player to achieve the main goal. And he is one of the players, as you can see, that was cut from lots of teams in the past, but he never gave up, and he really made it to the top level. And he's a really good example what we would like to see as a character in our players. Of course, besides the character, there is also a game performance side. So really work on the game sense and the skills. And the sport side, without this proper conditioning, athlete first mentality, recovery, and nutrition, anything wouldn't be happening. So this is what we want to see, how our players should look like. And last slide, it's really one team and one identity setup that we are trying to instill in the all programs, starting the U15 until the men's level. So from the players when they enter the system at the years of 15 until they are 25 years old, plus minus. And the coaching philosophy really it goes to the clubs as well. And as I already mentioned, we really are thankful to our head coach Greg Ramsey for helping us build this together. And as we go through the list, the first one is, again, we really have to look at the team first, and again really have a good confidence that we can really beat any team anytime at any level. The team again is the #1 thing for us. So always try to be a best teammate to support your teammates. If you look in a mirror, you want to be the best player in the whole game, in a tournament, a day. The players have to try to work on both sides of the end of the ring, excuse me, and trying to keep the game really simple. So try to really skate, play, attack, and the chase. So really simple mentality. And of course, as it goes to confidence from the previous years, we really wanted to play a lot with the puck. We really trying to pass the puck a lot, and we really now want to focus on be more effective and really win some games and win some tournaments. So this is basically the identity that we really looking at in the whole system. And thank you very much for your attention. I was really trying to briefly go through the programming, how we run our programs, and what's the important part for us in this part of the programming. So thank you very much for attention again. And if there are any questions, I'm really happy to answer.
Thank you, Igor, for sharing and for presenting this to us. And before we go to the questions you were talking a lot about coaching, and this is one big part as well. Give me a second. You see my screen now?
Not yet. I have to stop sharing, but okay.
I'll share my screen. So you talked a lot about coaching and about the coaching behavior and how this is important as well. So we talked about it last year as well or we talked about it, sorry, on last webinar, and we'll just go through this webinar as well. So we are having a IIHF International Coaching Symposium on 17th and 18th of May in Stockholm in Sweden during the World Championships. And there is though there is a QR code that you can scan. You can take a picture of, and it will guide you on our IIHF webpage where you can register yourself in, and during that seminar you will be able to see 3 games, and those 3 games are included in a package as well. And during those 2 days of a seminar, there will be a coaching stream. So there will be times that all the coaches will be together, and then at times there will be 2 different streams. Each one will be the coaches stream for the players, and another one will be a goalkeeper coaches stream for the goalkeeper coaches. And during those 2 days, there will be several different presenters and different topics that we'll run through, and these are some of the names and more. As said, you can see on our webpage. When you scan the QR code or you go to our webpage, you can follow it there. So you are more than welcome, or it would be great to see you there as well on the seminar. And coming to our Skills4All webinars, as said before, all our Skills4All webinars are recorded, and you can see them all on our webinar page. And this will be recorded and put there as well soon. And there is people watching on YouTube. So everybody who is watching the webinar on YouTube, if you still want to be part of discussion, now it's the last minute that you can still log in. So go through this QR code. There will be a link for the YouTube for the Zoom that you can join us for the discussions. And if not, then if you don't join us still for discussion, then I'm looking forward to see you on our last Skills4All webinar of this season, which will be the 23rd of April. And on this one, we'll talk about the successful club examples. And what we chose for this season is the club in Norway, which is the second biggest club at the moment in Norway. And in 2013, they had about 40 members. Now, today, they have over 800 members. So in 10 years, they did a big drastic steps forward, and they are today the second biggest club in Norway. They have 137 members in a skating school this year, and they have different sports as well, not just ice hockey, but about 800 visitors daily in their club. So I'm happy that Knut and Quinten will join us to share their experience and to share their story, what they did in last several years and how they developed their club. But now at the moment we are coming to an end of another recording, and thanks everybody for joining us. Everybody who are on YouTube, thank you so much. And everybody who are in Zoom, you can still stay, and you can ask questions for Igor and Magda, or if you have any questions going on. So we'll now stop recording and streaming on YouTube in a second.